Hello. Today we are going to study the fifth unit. Okay, and the second part of the fifth unit, that is stations and yards. So we'll be studying what is stations, what are yards. Okay, different types of stations, different types of yards. Okay, and how are these are classified, how these are worked out. Okay, what are the types in those, also we'll be studying here. Okay, so today's unit is all about the stations and yard. This is the second part of the fifth unit. Okay, stations and yards. So what is station basically? Can anyone tell me what is station? In the simple words, okay, station is nothing but the place where passengers, goods are loaded and unloaded, right? And not only the passengers and the goods are loaded and unloaded, but booking, okay, uh, okay, then the control of the train movements, right? How is the bus stand, right, where you will be sitting for the waiting for the waiting rooms will be there, you will be there, loading and unloading of the passengers and cargo will be there, there will be staff working for managing the timing and schedules, right? All these things are carried out at the stations where trains comes and stands, and people get in the trains, and cleaning and servicing is also provided to the trains, okay, during the necessary conditions, right? So this is basically a stop where there is a exchange of goods, passengers, and servicing provided to the trains. So that is called as, in a simple word, that is called as station, right? If you go to the definition wise, okay, the book definition, a railway station is a place on a railway line where the passengers goods are booked and dealt with the watering, okay, and dealt with the watering, cooling of the engines, and loading and unloading of the passengers. Okay, here booking is done, okay, cooling of engines and watering is done, and loading and unloading of passengers and goods are done. That is a place, okay, is called as stations. Like you can see in the image, right? You can see in the image that the train is coming to this station and it is standing at a station, right? Next, the classification of the stations. So what, how are these stations classified? So depending upon the operational conditions, depending upon how the stations are operated, means how they are going to work, on that basis the classification is done. The stations, railway stations, are classified into blocks and non-block stations. Okay. Now in the operation classifications, there are again divisions into two, that block stations and non-block stations. So what is now block and unblock stations here? To explain, I will give an example for you. Okay. Consider this is an station A or 1. Here there is another station 2. And there is a last another station 3. Suppose these are the stations in 3 different cities. And imagine that these are the 3 stations, right? These are the 3 stations. This is a track which is moving in front of it, of these stations, offer 3 different cities, the city 1, 2 and 3. Now, as I told in the first part, that the change of direction of the tracks are dealt by the station masters who is in the stations. So to understand or to limit the operation of one station master, to what are his limitations, okay, and from where it's his area or the region starts and where his region, hers or his region will end, right? That portion which is under his control, where he is going to change the directions, he is going to, by using the points and crossing arrangements, he is going to change the odd tracks, and he is going to give the signals for the various trains to get into the stations, right? That region or that area which is under control of one station master of a station is called as block. If suppose, okay, if for an example, if you consider a station 1, this is an area which is under, okay, this part of the track is under this station master 1, right? And the second is, this other part is under the control of the station master 2, that is the station of that station it is, and the other part is under the control of the station 3. So the region which is under that station, right, under that station, this area is called as block. You're understanding what I'm saying? The area under the control of that station or the station master, where he controls the movements of the trains and the directions of the trains, that is called as block. Understanding what I'm saying? And the non-block is are the stations where doesn't come under any block. If, for example, if there is a 3 stations again, one, there is a station 2, which is a small station, and there is a 2 big stations, this is a big one, and the third one also is big, but the second one is the small stations. So the blocks are between, the block is here, right? The control movements here is in between the first and the third part, but the station is neither in the first block nor in the second block. The small station is not in the first block or neither in the second block or that command area, neither of the command area. So such stations are called as non-block stations. Those are called as non-block stations, right? You are understanding what I'm saying? The region or the area which is in the control of that station, where he controls the signals, where he controls the movement of the trains, where he controls the movement, the points and crossings and the deviations or the change in the track. So that control is under that region, so that is called as a block. That region or that area under that station is called as the block, right? Right, again the stations are again classified into class A, class B, and class C block stations. See, these are again divided because depending upon the volume of traffic of on these stations, okay, depending upon the volume of traffic on these stations, at the stations, number of trains which are going to come and stand at that station, okay, depending upon that these are being divided, okay. It depends upon the locations also, but mainly depending upon the capacity and the traffic volume, okay. Next, the non-block stations are classified into D class or the flag stations. Why? All might have gone through the trains, right? While you are going to the train, you might have seen there are some small stations where there are no people at all, but these stations are for the emergency conditions. Okay, and there will be no uh, what you can say, there are no other facilities being provided. Okay, there is only one platform. Okay, the small platform has been provided. Okay, and the station master will stand on near to the platform, and he will be flying the red or green color flag to tell the uh, driver so that is free to move, or he has to stop the train at this station itself. Okay, during some emergency conditions, if there is repair works or there is a derailed of the rail track and he wants to stop the trains, in such conditions such small stations are provided. Okay, for the stoppage of the trains. Okay, so such type of stations are called as D class or the flag stations. Okay, where flags are being used to stop to signaling conditions. For the signaling, use flags. But in the class of in the A class, B and C class, we are using the signal systems. Like automated signal systems are being used to control the movements. Okay, this is the difference between the non-block and blocks. This is another difference. Okay, the block stations are derived as an obtain an authority to proceed in order to enter the next block. Okay, whenever you are going to go from the one block to the another block, there will be a signal at the entrance of the first next block. When you are, for example, if I show the once again the diagram, this is your track and this is your first block and this is your second block, right? So at the center where there is a change in the blocks, okay, here there will be a base signal systems. When you are trying to enter from one block to the another block, right, you have the station master will tell you whether to proceed or not to proceed, because this is his block. Without his permission you can't enter into his block. Okay, so the authority to proceed shall be granted into the next block. Okay, the first signal which is been provided, okay, in the starting of the block is called as warning signal. This warning signal is placed away from the home, that is, this is the home, it is called as, right, or the block. Okay, it is away from a few meters away from the uh, main block, so that to tell the driver whether the block is free to move inside or not. If there is a red light shown by the station master, then the train has to stop here itself. Train has to stop here itself. It can't enter the block. Okay, once he shows the green light, then only he is allowed or granted to come inside the block. So that is why the track or the railway tracks have been divided into various block systems. So the first signals that is been provided few length away from the block to direct the drivers for to move inside or to not to move inside the block. That signal is called as warner signal, that is giving warning to not to enter or to enter inside the block, right? Okay, so if this is your block, okay, this is your block, and once there is a green line, once the green line is shown on the warner signals, so he is saying to you enter. So once you try to enter, before entering the station, there is another signal provided, that is called as home signal. Why it is called as home signal? Because it is inside the block. It is the first signal that is inside the block. Once you enter the block, there is another signal provided. Okay, that signal is called as home block because it is the first signal that is been provided inside one block, inside that home, right? Inside that home. So it is called as home signal because it is inside the block, right? Once you enter the block and if you want to enter the stations, this home signal, if it is showing red color, then you have to stop there itself again, or you have to proceed to the stations. Okay, this is what is the home signal is. There is another signal which is being provided at the station and on the platforms itself. Whenever there is a platform, you will be provided here. Once your train has been standing here, okay, so to tell the driver to proceed to the next station, or the front track is clear, right? To move forward, the front track is clear, he can move forward. He has to signal the driver, right? So there is a signal provided at the start point of the train from that station. That signal is called as starter signal. Okay, that starter signal will tell whether to start the train or not to start the train, or to proceed or not to proceed. That is what it is trying to tell you, to move forward or not to move forward. Okay, these are the three signaling systems which will allow or grant you the permissions to move from one block to the another block in the class A block system. This type of signaling arrangement is done only in case of class A block. If you see this type of arrangement done, then you have to understand that that station is a block class A block station. Okay, so this is how the arrangement is done of various systems. Before entering the block, there is a warner signal, okay, whether to enter the block or not. Once you enter the block, okay, there will be a first signal, that is a home signal. In the home signal, you are being told to get into the which platform or which track, okay, and whether that track is clear or not. That will be told on the home signal, right? And once you enter the track here, and you're standing here and you want to proceed, right? You want to proceed forward, right? So when you want to move forward, this starter signals, okay, will tell you to whether to move forward in this direction or not, whether the track is clear or not clear, right? In this case, there are two double line stations, means there are two tracks. In the class A, double track, single track will be there, where there will be only one single track, or there will be two tracks. This is the example of two tracks, right? And these are the crossings. You can see here, these are the crossings. What type of crossing it is? It is a crossover crossings, because between the two parallel lines, it is making a crossover, and there are no other crossings done. So it is the first type of crossover which I have learned in the first part of your fifth unit, that is the crossover crossings. Okay, this is what are the functions of the various signal, and these are the minimum requirements of signals in the class A stations. This is all about what I have explained about the warner signals, home signals, starter signals, and the advanced starter signals. The advanced starter the advanced starter, this part. It was there in the diagram also, in the previous diagram also. These are optional. Okay, these are for the, if you go in the previous slide, okay, here, if a train is standing, if a train is standing on this platform, okay, if there is a train standing on this platform here, and there is another train coming from the same track, right? There is another train coming from the same track. This advance starter signal for the high speed trains, this is which is a high speed train which is coming from back, it will tell not to stop and proceed further with the high speed, this, right, to move forward the high speed. Okay, so these are optional, these are optionals, and they allow to drive further increase the train speed. Okay, this will not these trains are the advanced starters which will tell you to start and not to stop here and move forward and proceed. So these are the functions of the class A stations. Okay, these are the requirements of the signaling system. The station is nothing all about the signaling systems. So with the classification of signals, or which type of signals have been provided, by this way also you divide the classify the stations depending upon the operations, right? These are the operations that you are going to carry out. So depending upon that, the stations have been divided. And you in the exam for you will be having only a class A station systems. Okay. Next is what? Yards. Now what is yard? What is yard? Yard is nothing but it is a place. Okay, it is a place where the trains are laid. Okay, the trains are sought out, means cleaning, repair works, okay, maintaining the trains and rearranging the bogies of the trains. If you want to add extra bogies to a train, or you have to reduce the bogies of the train, you want to unload the raw materials that has been come. So for that purpose, you can't load and unload in the platform, passenger platform stations, right? You have to go to the yards where there is no passenger loading and unloading. There is only goods unloading and unloading, and repair and maintenance work, sorting, cleaning is done. Okay. Next is, this is what is called as yards. Next is types of yards. Next is, in the types of yards there are, first one is passenger yard, right? Next is goods yard. Third is marshalling yard, very important one, right? And the next is locomotive yard. Okay, and we are going to study the marshalling yard. For the syllabus, you have a marshalling yard. So we'll just define the various other yards, right? And then we'll move for the marshalling yard and what is marshalling yard. Okay, so the first one was the passenger yard, right? The main function is to provide facilities and safe movement of the passengers. Okay, that is called as passenger yard. It is nothing but a passenger station platform where passengers will be waiting for a train, right? That is called as passenger platforms. Next is the good yard, right? Next one is the goods yard. These goods yard are for the receiving loading, unloading, and delivering of the goods and movements of the goods vehicle. This is also important because we have to allow the goods vehicle to enter and exit the yards, right? So for loading and unloading, for receiving and delivering the goods, right? So for that purpose, these goods yards are being provided. Now, what is marshalling yard? Marshalling yard is nothing but a place where you are going to sort out, place into the order. Okay, sort out means you're going to differentiate and arrange them properly. Sorting means arranging the bogies of the train properly and allowing to move into its original destination. So that place is called as marshalling yard. And next one is the locomotive yard. Right? The next one is the locomotive yard. The locomotive yard is where the engines, only the engines, not the bogies, only the engines are being taken for the repair and maintenance works. That area where engines are being taken and servicing is done, that area is called as locomotive yard. Okay. Right. This is what is your different types of yards. Right. The goods yard, which deals with sorting of goods wagon or bogies to form a new goods train, or it might be a passenger train. It need not be a goods train. It's only okay. For an example, if that is used in the definition for the goods train, it might be a passenger train also, where sorting out of goods or the passenger wagons are being done or the bogies, and to form a new train. Right. Well, depending upon the quantity and the content, if it is passengers, the number of passengers, and if it's goods, depending upon the quantity of goods, right, the number of bogies are being decided. Okay, and those are being arranged. So that arranging of goods, okay, arranging of that wagons is called as marshalling yard. Proper arrangement, sorting, and departure of it, and moving of that train from that yard is called as marshalling yard. Okay, that is what its definition is. So before we go in deep of how this marshalling yard works, what are the steps and what are the steps through which it is going to work, there are four main components of the marshalling yard. That is reception, sorting, and departure. Okay, these are the three main components of the marshalling yard. That is reception, sorting, and departure. Okay, so what is the first part? We'll go through the diagram first and we'll understand. Okay, this is a main line, right? Main line. From the main line, it is brought inside into the first reception where it is made to stand, because if some work is going on in the sorting and departure compartments, then the train has to stand for some times. Like a reception, in a receptionist, you stand for the call. If some meeting, if you want to meet some officer, you have to take an appointment and you have to stand in the, you have to wait in the receptionist hall. For why? Because some other people are already inside that room. They have to vacate that room so that you can enter. So same way in this case also, when there are some trains which are already been are been in the marshalling yards for the sorting and of arrangements. Okay, for that purpose you have to wait in the receptionist side. Okay, sidings. So in this sidings, that is receptionist area or reception sidings, where the trains are brought and made to stand there till the sorting compartment is vacant. So once the compartment is vacant, it is the the wagons are brought into this sorting compartment. Okay, the sorting compartments, right? Once they are brought to the sorting compartment, depending upon its requirement, okay, depending upon the requirements of wagons for the passenger train and for the passengers train and for the goods trains, the sorting is been done. Okay, there are no engines here. Okay, through some mechanical hydraulic jacks, these are the movements are being slowly. Okay, because these trains are empty. Okay, once the arrangement is done, sorting is done, then cleaning of these bogies is also done there. Cleaning, small servicing is done here. Okay, if there are the wheels of the bogies, oiling, cleaning, all this some stuff of servicing is done for the wagons. Okay, sorting is done, arranging is done, cleaning is done, and servicing is done of those bogies, right? That is done in the sorting compartments. Once the trains have been sorted out, then they are taken to the departure sidings, right? To this departure sidings. Okay, they are being arranged and brought to the departure sidings, and from the locomotive yard, the engines comes and attaches to the remaining bogies and then taken out on the main line. Understanding what is marshalling yard, where the wagons are brought into, right, by the engine, and then the engine goes off for the locomotive yard for its repair and maintenance work. Till then the sorting and cleaning and servicing of the wagons is done, not of the engines are separately servicing is done in the locomotive yard. Okay, this is done, then it is brought to the departing sidings, where it is again connected to the engines, okay, which is waiting for it. Once it is connected, it is taken out the usage or for the operations. This is what is marshalling yard, and this is what is the working of marshalling yard is. Okay, for your explanation, for your understanding, there is another here. Here you can see the, you can see here, right, how it's working. See here, the bogies comes after the sorting, it's coming and connecting to it, and the train which is coming out is going for the sorting work here. Okay, once the sorting is done, it comes and connects to the other bogies. Okay, whatever requirements, so there is a attachment, then it moves to the main lines. It goes for the sorting, cleaning and servicing, comes back and gets connected to the other locomotives, and then goes to the main lines. This is how the arrangement is done. These are what our sidings are. These are the various sidings. This is your sorting sidings, and this is your departure sidings, right? The lines you saw on the receptional sidings, the sorting sidings, and the departure sidings, these are those sidings, means these are the parallel railway tracks. Okay, so this is all about the station and yards.